There's no doubt about it, life is tough. But you can make something out of nothing. I know that for a fact. Sometimes the worst day of your life leads you to something so glorious. I've had the weirdest day today, but I am so glad to be here right now. Hey everybody, thank you so much for coming back and seeing me and Desi. Did you have a good week? I want to hear all about it. I had a pretty good week, but I was thinking about when you asked me about my health, I kind of think back on all the questions that I've gotten the last 10 years here about menopause and about anxiety, about my weight and about dieting, supplements, energy, all kinds of things. So I thought we could talk about that today. I think it'd be really interesting. I want to share with you what's going on, like a health update, because, I was in the hospital the first of the year. And I want to share with you what's going on with that. But I also want to talk about my health in general and your health and women's health. So I think it's going to be a really good video. So I'm glad you're here. Good health almost all my life, so I have been very lucky. Currently, right now, I am on 2 blood pressure medicines and half of a water pill every day, and that's it. Those are my meds. And I have a little bit of arthritis pain where I just take an over-the-counter aspirin or ibuprofen. But when I turned 70, I felt very ill, and I was ill like from January to March, the end of March. And I shared my experience with you of going to the hospital and just having these horrible symptoms of muscle spasms and cramps in my arms and in my legs, and my hands feeling like they were going to tremble, and like neuropathy in my hands and my feet, so I couldn't sleep at night, and headaches, and I was very, very scared. And they did so many tests on me, and it came out that they felt it was a B12 potassium deficiency, so they put me on some supplements. By the end of March, I was fine, and I've been fine ever since. But I have a sneaky suspicion that I'm not so sure that was really a vitamin deficiency or a potassium low level. I don't think so. I think a lot of you remember last fall when the city flooded my basement, and they had to spend many, many weeks restoring it. And when I look back on my videos during that time, my face, it seems like every week my face swelled up a little bit more than the week before. And I talked to my doctor about this, and he said that would indicate some type of perhaps allergy or respiratory problem that was happening. And in that case, you're more susceptible to infection. So I'm just wondering, all those very serious neurological symptoms I was having, that was scaring me half to death. I'm wondering if it wasn't from some of these chemicals that they were using. Now, they worked on my basement for 2 months. I think one of the most important warnings that I could ever give my friends here is to be very, very careful with paint fumes, and especially paint that has a fragrance added to it. And if you are sealing up your basement, you have to be so very, very careful. You asked me about my energy level, and that always makes me feel so good because I never feel like I do more than anybody else. I think we all have pretty good energy, don't we? Now, I babysit my grandchildren, or I visit with my grandchildren on Sundays, and I love that day so much. And I play in my garden. I keep my house clean. I film and I edit videos, and I go off and I hunt for treasures at thrift stores. And I do make sure that I walk Desi, and I go to, I try out different parks, and I try to meet my girlfriends for lunch at least once a month. So I don't think that's extraordinary energy. Of course, there's always laundry, right? But I think my energy level has always been go, go, go. And so far, that pretty much hasn't slowed down. There's something in me that I get so afraid that I'm going to waste a day if I just sit and do nothing. And it's like that's the greatest sin in the world. And I don't know, the world will end if I just sit and do nothing. Study after study shows the biggest threat to a senior citizen's mental health is isolation, not getting out and socializing, not getting out and being amongst people, animals, parks, nature. So when you think about that isolation, every time I maybe just want to put my feet up and watch Netflix, I do think about how if I just force myself, and I do mean force myself out that door, put on a nice outfit and put on my makeup and force myself out that door, I feel that that will prolong my life, because studies show it does prolong my life. So isolation and staying by yourself and never talking, going days without talking to someone. My mom used to tell me that when I would go on vacation or something, she'd say, "While you were gone, honey, I never talked to one person." And I feel so sad. So it could be that it's just naturally, maybe in my DNA, that I have a lot of energy, or it's that I force myself when I don't want to get out.
What's wrong? Desi, what's wrong? Is there a puppy out there? Is there a puppy out there?
Anyway, I'm just having one of those days. I'm having one of those days where nothing is going right. I mean nothing. Nothing is going right. Nothing on my body is going right. My feet don't work. Look at my hair. No, don't look at my hair. My hair looks like an old mop from 1972. Okay, not really. 1975. That was a good year. I love 1975, actually. That was when I met... Well, we don't want to go there.
Are we doing okay? All right. When I was 48 years old, I had a partial hysterectomy. And my doctor took my uterus, but he left me my ovaries. And he said he did that because I would have an easier time when I went through menopause. At 49, I started to go through menopause. And I had the hot flashes, and I had the headaches, and I became very anxious and very brittle. But I didn't know what it was. I didn't think at 49 I was going to be going through menopause. After all, I had my ovaries. But that's what happened. And the weird thing about that is that was one of the happiest times of my entire life. I had, after being with Bill for years, we got married, we got a new house, we were redecorating. Oh gosh, we were just doing that house proud. And around the corner, my son bought a house. And so, I mean, it was a wonderful time. It was magic. But I was going through menopause. And I didn't feel like myself. I mean, I was happy and I could enjoy life, but like I was so brittle. And I can't believe how like at 1 minute I could just be so productive and happy and just, I love the world. And then 5 minutes later, I'm slamming a drawer because I'm mad because I can't find rubber bands. What is that? Suddenly I was just so brittle. And I couldn't figure it out. I went to my doctor. I said, you got to give me something because I don't know myself and I don't like myself like this. I'm a nervous wreck. I want to enjoy my life. How about estrogen? And he said, no, I can't put you on estrogen. There's too much of a chance of you developing breast cancer. But I said, but there's no cancer in my family. And he said, no, I'm not going to do it. You're going to be fine. 5 years. You're going to be fine. And then he sent me to get a black Comash or something at the drugstore. He said, try some supplements. You'll be fine. So I did. But you know what? I think of my menopause as lasting right around 8 years. And every year it got worse than the year before. I never had anxiety attacks, but one of the last years of when my menopause was almost over, I developed these morning anxiety attacks, and I didn't know how to handle them because I never had them before. And they always seemed to come in the morning after 2 cups of coffee, but I couldn't give up the coffee. But what was I so anxious about? Well, my husband was very ill. And my mother was dying, and I was in a very huge, beautiful house, and it was all on my shoulders to maintain, and I was very, very nervous, and for some reason, I just couldn't figure it all out. So the doctor, what does he give me? Not hormone replacement, not estrogen, nothing like that. What he decides to give me is Ativan. So he gives me 0.5 milligrams of Ativan to take at night before I go to bed. And so, okay, and it did help me with my sleep. And my hot flashes were diminishing somewhat. And when I started to relax a little bit because I was getting more sleep, because I wasn't sleeping at all, I ended up losing, well, let's see. I ballooned up. Now, my normal weight is right around 135 my whole life, and I ballooned up to 162. When I hit 162, I remember my husband was behind me, and he said, oh dear, your behind is quite intense. I mean, what a literary way to tell me I had a big ass. Anyway, so I went from 162 to 132, and I was on Atkins. Low carbs took me 7 months. But then things, in my personal life started to happen. My mom got much sicker and needed more care, and my husband broke his hip. So I went from 135 to 117. So I'm not on any hormones, and I'm still on that Ativan so I can sleep at night. And whatever I was doing, the weight was just falling off me. And I was smoking 2 packs of cigarettes a day, so I'm sure that contributed to it too. But what I did through all the turmoil and the grief of the hot flashes and feeling so brittle and brain fog, and my focus was ridiculous. I would walk into the bedroom and Why did I come in here? I had to come in here for something. What could it be? What was I doing? I mean, it was crazy town. But how did I handle that stress? How did I handle, menopause? I sat down and I started writing. After 20 years, I started writing music. And that music turned into writing 35 songs about my life. And then I ended up shopping it around. I got a producer, and at 56 years old, I made a record and got it released. And that's how I do it. So long story short, too late. My menopausal journey was crazy. And I think I went through so much unnecessary pain. And if you could share maybe a little bit in the comments, how did you get through your menopausal years? Because, I guess I could look at it two ways, right? I probably could have had a great doctor who could have put me on hormone replacement therapy, and things would have been so much calmer and so much better for me. Or maybe it was meant to be. I could look at it that way. Maybe the brittleness and the anxiety and the fear and not feeling in control, maybe that just contributed to a piece of work that I'm the most proud of in my life. Those songs that I wrote during that time are precious to me. So, pick your poison, I guess. The funny thing is, when I turned 65, I was still on that little 0.5 Ativan at night to sleep, and my doctor said, no, you can't stay on that after 65. That can speed up, or that will make you more prone to developing dementia. Oh, wonderful. So I've been on this all these years, and it's supposed to be short term? Really? Thanks. Thanks for the memories that I might lose. Wow. So that was taken away. No problem there. But here I am right now, and I'm 70. And I still have those hot flashes. But what is gone is the anxiety. What is gone is the fear. What is gone is the anger and the brittleness. I find myself in the daytime laughing, just laughing. Like I'll tell myself a joke and I'm laughing. Now maybe I've gone crazy, but life is getting through menopause has been just a huge treat for me. And it's been a renewal. It's been a rebirth. All I can say is, yeah, I got through it cold turkey. I quit smoking 11 years ago. I don't drink.
I really don't want to see summer end. It really was a beautiful summer. Much more relaxing than last summer with the wedding.
When I was 65, I looked in the mirror and my waist had expanded. And I always, when I look at my early videos and I have like my skirt on and I have my little belt, and if I put a belt on now, some people in the comments will say, oh, please don't wear a belt. It just makes you look bigger. Okay. My body changed at 65. Things got rearranged a little bit, like a worn out pillow. And so what I've tried to do is exercise a little bit more, but I'm not that like aerobics type of gal or join a gym kind of gal right now. So I walk, and I walk quite a bit, and I hike. But other than that, I really haven't been exercising at all, other than working in my garden and doing laundry and chasing after Desi. I don't know how many times somebody has asked me, what is your daily routine? And it's always the same. I get up in the morning and Desi and we take a long walk, and I have my yogurt and half a banana for breakfast, and for lunch, it's like celery and a little bit of chicken salad. Ooh, I just made a batch of chicken salad. I just love that. And I'll just have a little plate of that. And at night I usually have fish and, maybe, just a small side dish of, some kind of sugar-free pudding and, maybe just some type of sliced vegetable. And I love that. I try to keep my carbs down. Don't eat sugar, but I still struggle with my weight. I eat half what I used to eat, and I weigh 15 pounds more, and I don't know why. That's just the way it is. I thought about maybe one of those weight loss drugs, and my doctor just laughed in my face, and he said, no, not at 70. I'm not giving that to you at 70. And he said, just exercise more. I love my doctor. I think I have the record of having the most annoying doctors on earth. I used to have a doctor when I was in my 20s. When I would go to his office, he would like chain smoke and say, what? I don't know why I struggle with my weight so much, but I do. Sometimes I think I keep 20 extra pounds on me to chase the boys away. I honestly don't know, but it really gets to me. And sometimes it makes me very, very sad. And I know how being sad and how being depressed is very, very dangerous for a woman my age. And what I try to do is laugh. And I try to be creative. I try to do things that I've never done before.
On the leash, she's getting good. We walk around the block. He's doing good there.
Zeke, what you doing?
He's such a lover.
What
oh my
you
God,
doing?
he's so lovey.
Oh, look at the babies.
I know it.
Look at the
Mommy's got to take
babies.
upstairs.
The one thing about this season is we did get a very late frost, and I'm wondering if that frost affected the hydrangeas. This one only produced 10 blooms, and last year I got at least 25 blooms. I don't know.
Sometimes I struggle with just feeling wistful and sad. And sometimes I can sort of beat myself up a little bit, but that's getting so much better. And I've noticed this thing sort of creeping up that I do see that tendency now of me wanting to cocoon, of me not wanting to socialize as much as I used to. And I wonder why that is, but it used to be, the last few weeks I had 3 parties to go to, and I was really excited before I went to the parties, but afterwards I was just so exhausted. And also it seemed there was like a little bit of anxiety about me, about how I felt about me and how I fit in with the people at these parties. And so I think there's this feeling that I have to work through and work on and conquer this feeling that, no, I would really just like to be alone, just me and Desi. I gotta work on that, because that's not gonna work for me, because I know, again, like I said, that's not good for our health. It's not good for our mental health, and it's not good for our physical health. So we have to be our own moms, right? Or I have to be my own mom. Yeah. Like, stop it. Get out there and live. Please, get out there and live.
Really can make something out of nothing. you doing? What you doing, Desi? Desi, what you doing? Huh? What you doing?
Hey everybody, thank you so much for hanging out with us today. I just love doing this video today. I hope you got something out of it. And down below, maybe you've got time to share something that you went through as far as your health, and let us know how you're doing, okay? Please have yourself a happy, safe, brand new week. And when you're done with your week, come back and see me and Desi, okay? All right, it's a deal. We'll be here. Desi, I'm not even singing a song. What's up with that? I don't get it.